and all of this, relates back to the policies. How do we implement the policies, district policies regarding artificial intelligence? And NWT has available a set of policies that people can take a look at, and it's really, really interesting. And perhaps we can do an entire section on that. But it's really interesting to see how different organizations are looking at the type of policies and procedures and implementations that their students and staff should have with AI. And I mean, it's across the board from, some few districts are still saying it's banned completely. A number of different districts and organizations are getting very, very specific about how you cite AI in your work and what is permissible use of AI. And others are just saying, hey, play with it and see what comes up. But, as we're working with AI in pre-K through 12, we always have to be very aware of student privacy issues. And that's something that we really have to be careful of as we're putting in any information about individual students. So, I mean, if you say, hey, I have 2 struggling readers, or I teach 4th grade and I have, a third of my class are reading 2 and 3 grades below grade level, that's okay. But now if I start to target and say, I really want to help Sally, and so I'm going to put in Sally's scores, and then I say, here are the scores for a student in my class, I mean, that's borderline, real near the edge. If I say, here are the scores of Sally and here are the scores of Paul, then almost guaranteed you're violating student privacy, because AI is not a secure environment. Unlike your school network, AI is open to everybody. And theoretically, somebody could go in and ask AI, if you're both using ChatGPT, one of you could say, hey, ChatGPT, tell me about students that attend West High School whose name are Sally. Well, and GPT would know that, and it would not know to keep that information private. So one of the earliest examples of this that I heard about was sports scores. If somebody is putting in performance data on your sports team, and you're saying, hey, this is West High School's soccer team, and this is how the individual players performed. Well, somebody in a different school could say, tell me about West High School's players. And people in that other school could potentially get that information. So the whole data privacy is something that, I don't want it to frighten us. I don't want us to say we can't use ChatGPT, but we do have to be very aware that anything we put in ChatGPT, it's really almost the same as if we posted it on a Facebook page, because and it's actually even more available, because all someone has to do is ask the right question and ChatGPT will share that information. It does not have any privacy locks on it, at least not currently.
So I'm been messing with the ChatGPT AI stuff to analyze spreadsheets. And I just installed an add-on that's called Coefficient, that helps to analyze data in Google spreadsheets, so sheets. But when it came to the screen to connect as an admin, it asked me, do you want to admin install this or individual install it? So when I said admin install, it brought me to the screen that says, and this happens normally, everyone in your organization or certain groups and organizational units. I chose everyone. And then it says, I agree to the terms, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, if you have, and I had to check this box too, I had to check both boxes. If you have end users under the age of 18, your organization may be required to get parental consent before allowing these users to use third-party services and or, yeah. So it just says we may have to okay it. And the first screen, I had to say, okay, about 18 years old. So I was like, oh, this is crazy. So those screens have never been there when I install things. So now it's telling me 18 and under, there might be certain things that I have to.
Yeah. Now the product you're looking at is like an add-on or to a helper program specifically for spreadsheets, did you say?
Yes, but it's associated with Chat GPT.
All right, what's it called?
Coefficient.
Ah, interesting. And
Yeah,
to help,
no.
so if you're logged into Chat GPT, you would use Coefficient to help you analyze spreadsheet data. Very interesting.
I'm
how
about to
this is
figure
all
I'm about to
developing.
figure it out because yeah, I'm about to figure it out. It's not showing up instantly. It says it's supposed to show up in the sidebar and then connect me to Chat GPT. I think I'm going to go back and read the directions again because I thought I could do it easily, but it's not.
And
So,
then
so it's interesting to me, the development of these tools and supporting applications for artificial intelligence is following really the exact same path as what we saw for writing documents. You know, the variety of tools we saw, Grammarly and many others that could be used along with Google Docs. Google Docs was the foundation program, and then you could get these additional programs to help make them more efficient. The same thing with Google Spreadsheets. You could have Google Sheets and additional programs that would help make them more efficient or allow you to write formulas more easily and so forth. It sounds like we're seeing the same path with artificial intelligence. You have your basic program, whether it's Chat GPT or Bard or Copilot with Microsoft. You have your basic program, and then you'll have the additional programs or apps or helpers or add-ons, whatever you want to call them, that will work with that specific version of AI.
But Roger, I wonder though that if you, Judy, and I were not focusing on AI and Chat GPT, would we even recognize that? I think we are deeper into this rabbit hole than anyone else is.
I think we are, yeah.
And so, like any other time, Judy and I would just install that add-on and not think a thing of it. We would just be like, oh, that's going to work well with my Google Classroom. That's going to work well with my Google Doc. Now I need something to show superintendents how to use Chat GPT or AI with their spreadsheets to analyze data. All of this stuff already existed. I think that it's just getting a little more evasive, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We might be overthinking it, not for a bad reason, but other people might just install Coefficient without thinking of it. Someone might go to Question Well without even thinking, going, oh, this is a really cool tool that is going to give me a question for my book that I'm reading for my kids and help me create an assessment or a test. But they might not think about that there's tools out there that will allow the students to do that. So they may not be thinking as in depth about the cons of the existence of these things, like 18 years and under using these things. I don't know. I just feel that since we are focusing on that, and Judy's comment about there's not a lot of people in our district responding to our AI policies, maybe we're just aware of it and other people aren't, and they're just going to install the add-on and go about their day like normal. So
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
Well, today's News Messenger, which I pretty faithfully read I have an online digital account. There were 2 articles about AI. I thought, how timely. But there's people suing Chat GPT. The company OpenAI is the parent company. A comedian wrote a book, and she's saying they put a large portion of her book online, and it's going to hurt her sales. And whatever. It was called OpenAI sued by comedian and novelist. So there's more than just her doing it. And this could just open a whole nother like, are they violating copyright by putting these, like, give me a summary of each chapter, or I'd like to know chapter 1, and they put it out there or something like that. It's not just her, but that was the first article I read. And then the second one was about Elon Musk's new AI startup. And I didn't realize that he was a co-founder and early funder of OpenAI, which is parent of ChatGPT. He's no longer associated with it, according to this.
Oh, really? So he is no longer part of ChatGPT? Interesting. The Open
well,
AI,
he's
which is
doing his
the
own.
basic software that ChatGPT uses.
Okay, yeah, it says a public unveiling of XAI, which is his, follows comments Musk made about it in April to then Fox News host Tucker Carlson. And I haven't really delved in since I just read the article this morning. Haven't even checked out, but I know when I checked out the Microsoft's new Bing, which is it had a little button to do chat. It wasn't anything like the other three. Questionwell, ChatGPT, or Bard, as far as like making questions up about a book. I just use that book I've been using all along, The Outsiders. Give me some assessment questions. It just basically gave me links to Teachers Pay Teachers to get good questions, or other question creating type tools that are on the internet already. It didn't give me anything that I could use immediately like those other ones.
So after I installed that coefficient as an add-on, it walked me through all the steps and asked me, it didn't have anything with education. It didn't ask me, it did ask me what my occupation was, what my organization was. Like I said, nothing was education. What my role was, nothing was education. And then it asked what my level of expertise is with spreadsheets. And I said, not very advanced at all. And then it asked me, what system would you like to pull data from? And then check this out. I mean, ChatGPT is up in there, but you can see all the old school ones.
Google Analytics. Wow. Yeah.
All the ones that have always been there. MS SQL Server. They even have Shopify in there. MailChimp. I used to use MailChimp a long time ago. Google Ads, Facebook Ads.
Well, now you do you're really more than novice at spreadsheets. What's the program you typically are using for spreadsheets when you're automating responses and working with formulas and so forth? Because you've got a go-to for that, right?
I do. I use Autocrat to do the certificate stuff, which is an add-on.
Yeah. So I mean, we all tend to find one of these add-ons that works for the stuff we're doing, and we use it, we learn it, and it can be a tremendous help when you're trying to deal with data.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I normally don't. I guess when you ask me to dig deeper into analyzing data within a spreadsheet, and normally what I would do is I probably would use filters or sort. That's what I use. And then I work harder to dig through it. Like, for instance, when we were doing all of the COVID parent surveys and teacher surveys and student surveys, like what programs did you use for communication? What program? That data would have been a lot easier analyzed if someone else would have dug through it. Where, oh geez, I just thought of this. Wordle. You guys remember Wordle?
Oh, sure.
And I bet you that is an AI, obviously, because it would look through pages and pages and thousands and 10,000s of words, and it would say what word is used the most. And then it would, so it's analyzing that data. If I would have had, I'm guessing there was something out there when I was analyzing all that COVID data, it would have taken me probably a fraction of the time. I spent hours looking through that data and trying to find what response was used the most, what programs were spoken about the most. So basically, I don't know what's going to come up here. That's why I'm not going to have that be recorded, because I don't like to, I don't like to not be aware of what I'm showing right away without having some knowledge of it. But
sure.
If we're going to analyze data and show the simplicity of it, I can't wait to see what happens here. And also, that data that showed up, I wouldn't have had to block it. It's public information anyways. It's baseball stats. That's all it is. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through all those stats and find out, who has the best batting average, who has the best takeouts or putouts at the base, or whatever. It's going to go through 40 kids and it's going to rank them 1 to 10, or whatever kind of thing. Normally I would have done that by myself and look through the data and sorted it, and it wouldn't have
do a couple sorts, rank from top to bottom, arrange some columns, first, second, third, priority, whatever.
Hide a column, put the columns next to each other. Whereas I think that's what these data aggregators are going to do for me. I don't know. I would have to, they said I can switch anytime. So I think I'm going to try ChatGPT first. And then I'm going to go to maybe something else I've used before, like Google Analytics. I don't know. All of this stuff seems weirdly connected, but the only thing that it's just data analyze. I don't know. I don't know.
It's really not new. It's just at a higher level. I mean, for years, Wolfram Alpha, for example, you could ask it all sorts of questions, including questions related to data. You could ask it to analyze the population changes. Like you could ask it to analyze what is the projection for. This is a real example. Analyze the projection for kindergarten students based on the birth rates, 2000 and 2019 through 2024. Project what the kindergarten enrollment's going to be, and we've had that capability for some time now. But I think what's going to be new is just how easy it is to get that data together without our having to generate the formulas. At least that's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest problem with spreadsheets and Excel and data in that manner, whereas I have to work too hard for it. Whereas I don't know if I was sharing my screen when I went to my add-ons. I have an add-on that's called If Then Formula Builder, because, and I know that Google used to do this, but like you said, it's at an advanced level, the ChatGPT stuff. And if I'm like the other day, I asked ChatGPT, I need you to create a formula that's going to do this, 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 and this. And then I'm like, it gave me the explanation, that I said, simplify that for me. And then it simplified it even more. And I was able to walk through it. Now, the one thing was that solution never worked for me. It almost worked. And then I went in and I tweaked it because I have a little bit of knowledge of, formulas and that kind of stuff. The formula they had given me didn't work. And so then I went in and I added, I changed their word that they had at the beginning, I couldn't remember it, to query. So query blah, and then it looked at everything, called everything, which was weird that it didn't tell me to do that. But anyways, I think it is going to take it deeper, but I don't think it's without already having some kind of skill behind it, if that makes sense. I
think that makes a ton of sense. And having some skill behind it is extremely important. You just can't ask it to, build me a rocket ship or, give me a recipe for pizza. You have to have some skill to first off check and see whether it's telling you really does make sense. And I'll go back to my example where I ask it to talk about the introduction of almond milk to high school cafeterias. And it says, almond milk will be a great addition for pizza. Well, as far as I can tell, you can't make cheese out of almond milk. So it was totally incorrect what the AI was suggesting.
The other day, I asked the AI, how can I become rich? How can I make money? And then it went through this whole explanation. It was long, and it said that it, like, one, you have to invest, it takes time, and it had like 15 steps of how I could become rich. And it was awful. And I was like, how can I become rich fast? And then it kind of just analyzed the stuff a little deeper. It said that there's more risk involved to become that. And then, it was just funny because I thought, based on the movies that I've watched about AI, El Machina and what was it, Her or something like that, where Joaquin Phoenix was like involved with the iOS system, and the iOS system became so real. It's just a crazy. I wonder if we could talk to Chat GPT long enough that it breaks something in the world to make something happen. You know, like people are always trying to manipulate things for the better of them,
Yeah.
like to
Yes.
advance. I don't know. It seems a little diabolical that I was going that route, but all of those movies ended up the same, where people tried to manipulate the AI in this way that it became bigger than life and bigger than real, if that makes sense. I think that's why I'm a little offstandish about AI, is because also Black Mirror. I think, have either of you watched those things? It's scary. Technology is scary when you think about the capacity at which it can grow and which it can you know, function in the world. So anyways.
And I think that's why it's so important to get on top and stay on top of what's going on with artificial intelligence and instruction. You know, teachers need to be aware of the fact students are using this, especially for English composition, because that is a very, very easy lift. You take whatever the teacher's writing assignment is and you plug it into the AI. And if you're smart, you tweak it around a little bit, and chances are the teacher will not be able to detect that the AI assisted you. And so we really have to use this tool. I mean, it's a tool that's going to be there. We have to make sure we're using it and it's not using us. I mean, there's already examples on how there have been losses in the stock market because of fake images that the AI generated. It generated an image of an explosion that seemed very, very real, and the stock market reacted. So yeah, AI stuff, fake AI stuff can impact our real world. And is it possible for somebody to really learn to use AI very, very efficiently, and that it in some way benefits them as an individual? I think that's super possible, and something, again, the easiest way that I can see is the stock market, where rumors can end up in changes in money, or things about supposed health foods or anything else. You get it out there, and people could be engaging in eating or exercise practices that are in fact not just not productive, but could actually be dangerous to them. So you really have to use some common sense. In the most recent one, just today, I was looking for, well, what is the policy of BARD? BARD is Google's version of artificial intelligence. And can BARD be used with K through 12 students? Well, the action is it can be, but it's not supposed to be. BARD's policies themselves prohibit the use of Google's artificial intelligence program, prohibits the use of Google's artificial intelligence program by anyone under the age of 18. And that's all related to data and privacy issues. But if you ask BARD, how can I use Google's artificial intelligence program in K-12 schools? It will provide you with lots of very interesting scenarios on using it. So BARD itself is able to violate its creators' policies on how it should be used. I mean, that's something that we have to be very, very aware of, is these AIs can tell us things different than what our creators want, and we have to keep it under control. I mean, it sounds weird, science fiction, scary, but here's the example right now. Try it. Ask BARD, get into Google and go to BARD, BARD, and ask it, how can BARD be used for K-12 education? And it will tell you lots of ways. But then look at Google's policies, Google's official set of policies, and it says BARD may not be used by anybody under 18. So very, very interesting.
And to add to that, the XAI, Elon Musk, it said the goal of his new startup, XAI, goal is to understand the true nature of the universe. And then the little article in the newspaper says that idea Musk told Tucker Carlson, is that AI that wants to understand humanity is less likely to destroy it. So it was just introduced yesterday. That it said formally launched on Wednesday. So I guess we'll just have to.
So that was just that would have been what, July 12th, 2023.
Yeah,
that he started this new company.
yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it is all very interesting and a lot to learn, and people just need to be aware of what they're doing. It's always easy to or what I usually say is knowledge is allowing you to be able to manipulate the tools that you're using. My students, I would always tell them, if you know the rules, you're allowed to break them with a program, not the school or anything like that. Like when we were doing video production, that's how innovation comes about, is knowing how something is there, knowing how to use it, being aware of it, and then allowing your occupation or your instruction, in the case of education, navigate that tool in a way. So I keep going back to the when Twitter first came out, a district said, I don't know, there's this thing called Twitter. I don't understand. Yeah, I just let the kids do it. What? Like having the knowledge, then you can allow it. Now Twitter's used a lot for education, or was after, after it was come about. So let's, in this episode, I think that's kind of our message, is that be aware of the policies behind it, be aware of the tools that are out there. Be knowledgeable, be knowledgeable of things, ask questions, and navigate through these new things to either help benefit your education, your instruction, your students, or protect them in a way, protect yourself, protect your students. That's our episode. And that, again, a continuation of the AI. Thank you, Roger and Judy, for all your information and input on that. We'll see you next week for our next episode, probably about AI. It seems like that's the thing that we need to get out there. So thank you.